thank you. Welcome to GoodBreeding. I will just reassure some of you straight away, I am not actually a real nun. I know some people can be quite phobic about it. I don't want to create a reaction. It's just, if I'd been born over 100 years ago and didn't want children, being a nun would have been about my only option. Either that or be a scary old witch who lived in a gingerbread cottage deep in the forest. And I would have made a really rubbish nun. I don't believe in God for a start. I hate getting up early, and I quite fancy priests. I think I watched the Thornbirds at too much of an impressionable age, that's all I can think happened. I would have been one of those who caused a scandal by running off with a priest, preferably one whose sperm had already died. So luckily I can straight away cast off this habit. I will never be a mother superior. I gather they hang out on Mum's net, but I'm not allowed on Mum's net. Maybe Mum's not. Anyone here a member of Mum's net? No, okay, good, already I feel I'm among my people. So, yes, I've always known that I didn't want to have children, and I've only questioned it at all a couple of times. The first was back in 2006 when I'd just come out of a really miserable relationship. I was on my own. I'd stopped working at a radio station with loads of colleagues and I was going solo as a writer, and I was just living alone in my flat, and I suddenly realised how truly solitary I was in the face of an ultimately uncaring universe. A bit like how I imagine Richard and Judy must have felt when their TV show went onto that cable channel watch. And I briefly thought maybe having a child would make me less alone, but then I walked past a wacky warehouse pub on a bank holiday Monday, and sense was restored to me. And instead I joined MySpace and enjoyed the infantile needs of all of cyberspace. And the only other time, well, apart from whenever I go to a supermarket and have to walk the 10 further miles past the parent and child spaces to my own car and think, hang on, they've got children to help them, that's not fair. The only other time has been while doing this show, because there are still questions, no matter how certain I am. You know, questions like, would I have even made a good parent? Would I have been willing to sacrifice my life for that of a child? What if a child had my eczema and my husband's beard, but was a girl? What if I gave birth to a sociopath or a UKIP MP? Not necessarily separate, I'm aware. Would having a child have given me an excuse to play with Lego, eat jelly and watch Bagpuss without having to pretend to be ironic? Could that have happened? But then, knowing that I don't want to, there are still questions. Is it unnatural not to want to have children? And is unnatural a bad thing anyway? Deep-fried Mars bars are unnatural. Nylon is unnatural. Stephen Hawking's voice is unnatural. Will I never know a truer, purer kind of love? Will I end up a lonely old woman who is eaten by her dogs after I die alone? And because they've never eaten human meat, they themselves die agonising deaths, causing it to be reported in the local paper and animal rights activists to come and deface my gravestone, which is never cleaned because my non-existent grandchildren don't care. That could happen. It could, probably won't, but it could happen. These are the things that I worry about. I thought I was out on my own with this, and that's part of the reason why I've done the show. But then, the actual figures are astounding. Between 1930 and 1946, only 1 in 9 women didn't have children. Now, the number is 1 in 5, and it's rising all the time. In countries like Germany and Japan, it's actually nearer 1 in 3. And the reasons are really well documented. It's things like the decline in religion, more women working, an increase in contraception, people taking longer to get established and then leaving it too late. If that is now suddenly occurring to any of you, I would say that an extra 45 minutes probably won't make any difference to your dying eggs or sperm, so you might as well stay for the rest of the show if that's all right. So, I do think there is a kind of stigma to speaking out as a non-parent. We don't hear the voices of non-parents quite as much, and it may just be that the parents are so busy talking about little Daniel's guitar lessons and how well Sarah's doing at piano that us non-parents just can't get a blooming word in. Maybe that's what it is. But I kind of want to address it, and I want to address it with you. And the reason that you have got the exciting interactive voting pads, which we're about to practice using, is we're all going to reset ourselves to 0, in a sense. So some of you at the moment, will have children. Some of you will have adopted them, fostered them, abducted them. Some of you might want children but can't have them. Some of you might have children but not want them. So what I'd like us to do is, as I say, kind of start from an equal point, and we can decide again whether we want them or whether we want to have other things. So can we just, and I'm